The recent controversy with FN Mecca and rapper Kyle the Hooligan highlights the absolute powerhouse of opportunity that is the hip-hop genre. The truth is, hip-hop is a representation of mainstream culture at every point in time. Due to the way that hip-hop artists have to balance relevancy and authenticity, all you have to do to discover what's trending is turn to hip-hop. This and a host of other elements of hip-hop culture make it the perfect place for advertisers to push their products. While people think that social media often blurs the line between marketing and content, hip-hop does it too, and they do a way better job. Though people act surprised at hip-hop's worldwide appeal and popularity, what they're really surprised about is its longevity. In reality, hip-hop has appealed to the masses since the 90s and has been among the most popular genres since at least 2002. In 2020, Tuma Basa, YouTube's director of Black Music, pitched the idea of brands spending more on hip-hop content because the top 3 YouTube genres were hip-hop, rock, and pop. And all top 10 viewed artists on YouTube in 2020 were hip-hop artists. Hip-hop artists have always had an incredible amount of star power due to the genre's popularity. Rap stars are the new rock stars. So not only does hip-hop reflect consumerism, it influences it. That's because of the value-added theory, which just means that if enough people think something is cool, it's cool. For example, in the early 2000s, Escalade was primarily a car marketed for men over the age of 65. That is, until it appeared in Jay-Z's Dirt Off Your Shoulder video, which helped market the car to young people. From 2000 to 2003, the image of Escalade changed, and even now it's seen as more of a luxury car. Similarly, the NBA saw a decline in jersey sales after Jay-Z dropped Change Clothes in 2003, a consequence that was even acknowledged by David Stern, who was the NBA commissioner at the time. After advertisers realized this, we saw rappers in all kinds of ads for products that are not cool. There's nothing wrong with these products, they're just not trendy. For example, Warren G did an ad for an erectile dysfunction medication.
It's a Firm XL and the place to be. I want you to call that number at the count of 3 at the bottom of your screen to get your Firm XL.
Lil Flip did an ad for a garage company.
Look, we the best at Grand Slam garage sales. Just email the address and we'll be right there.
Master P did an ad for a law firm.
For all your attorney matters, you know who to call. The Winton and Heathstand Law Group.
And we've all heard of ICDC College.
I say ICDC. Call up ICDC College.
We've been seeing all of these inventive ways of integrating hip-hop into advertising and vice versa because millennials spend more money on music than any other generation. Currently, hip-hop is 25% of sales revenue and 30% of streaming revenue. Advertising has become more of an interactive experience due to social media and tech advancements. Think about Migos and Joey Badass's integration into Madden 20, Travis Scott's Fortnite event in Skin, Lil Nas X's Roblox concert, and Tootsie Slide. The song's conception and subsequent virality displayed just how easy it is to crack the hip-hop for marketing code. Though Run DMC's Adidas Run is commonly cited as the first integration of hip-hop into mainstream marketing, it actually occurred the year before, with Curtis Blow's ad for Sprite. In the 1985 ad, Blow even sends out a friendly diss to Sprite's competitor 7-Up.
So tell it to a friend, we're chilling out with the taste that's in. Now more than ever. Now more than ever. It's Sprite.
This was the beginning of a long relationship between Sprite and hip-hop that would last for years. They ran ads with Heavy D and the Boys in 1990 and Kid and Play in 1991. They even launched the Obey Your Thirst campaign for the first time in 1994 with A Tribe Called Quest. Other names that were a part of this campaign were KRS-One, CL Smooth, Missy Elliott, Common, Fat Joe, Grand Puba, Large Professor, Pete Rock, and Grandmaster Flash. In 2010, Drake's Spark Sprite commercial was the lead of their first international marketing campaign. And in 2015, we saw a revival of the Obey Your Thirst hip-hop campaign, but with Drake, Biggie, Rakim, and Nas, and then with Ben Staple and Isaiah Rashad also doing commercials. For a deep dive on this, check out Clout Cancun's video. Though the hip-hop audience no longer has a black majority, it can't be denied that most mainstream rap is made by black people and attempts to reach black people. So it's not surprising that Sprite, a company who has aligned itself with hip-hop several times, has a Black Lives Matter initiative that helps black artists from visual artists to
rappers. While DoorDash's rap ads are meant to appeal to the masses,
Fish roll, risotto, buffalo, gelato.
And this weird Spotify ad was made for some target audience that doesn't exist.
My friends are having a party this weekend. Do you want to come?
Baby, give me that toot. Let me give you that beep.
Marketing to Black people is important to brands because of the spending power of the Black community. Look no further than the CAA insurance ad that covers All My Life by Casey and JoJo.
Insurance, I pay for service like you.
A song that still hits in the Black community but hasn't been a part of the mainstream music conversation in a while. Brands made the shift to marketing to Black people in the 1970s and primarily relied on stereotypes like G-dropping and other incorporations of BBE, called Ebonics back then. Some corporations even made sure to outwardly market to Black people, but showed silent support, like McDonald's, a company with several commercials clearly meant for a Black audience, but silently made and deleted a site called 365 Black. We'll talk more about McDonald's later. For now, let's switch gears. Doing an ad read in the middle of a rap song wouldn't cause as much controversy as one might think. First, getting an ad deal can actually add credibility to an artist. Someone who began rapping while they were poor would use materialism to show that they've made it, and so would their audience. Also, name dropping is an important part of the consumerism of hip-hop culture, so product placement is incredibly easy to integrate. In 2015, Lloyd Banks even said that he went to ads in hip-hop magazines in order to integrate those brand names into his lyrics. Think Paso Cavassier. Think Dior, Stunt 101, and Dame Dash dancing with bottles of Armadale in music videos, like he did in Cameron's Oh Boy. Sometimes what you're really watching is a super engaging commercial, not a music video. There's also Nelly's Air Force Ones, which has a really interesting story. According to Kojo Bentil, Universal Motown's Senior Vice President of Strategic Marketing and Business Development in 2009, Nike refused to monetarily compensate Nelly for the song.
He wrote that rhyme about a pair of tennis shoes that he likes. Or basketball shoes, the Air Force Ones by Nike. He approached Nike after the fact about a situation, product placement, etc. Nike would not cut him a check.
But according to Nelly, Nike sponsored his tour that year. And though I didn't see it actually reported anywhere, it's also a common belief that this song scored Nelly free shoes for life from Nike. Also, they released a shoe together called the Air Dirty. Now it's common for rappers to receive PR in the form of free products, but also with documentary-style commercials and video shoots that are mutually beneficial. If you'd like to watch a video specifically about the commodifying of music, check out this one from Fab Socialism.
Because it isn't important whether a few Black heroes got lost or stolen or strayed in America's history textbooks. What's important is why.
Materialism, misogyny, and sexism were the staples of hip-hop culture at its conception through the bling rap era and today. The stoic rapper and the gangster rapper became business models for record executives in the 90s because the lives they live and the indifference with which they treat their daily activities makes it incredibly attractive and accessible for the listener. Have you ever actually met a pimp like the person 50 Cent describes in PIMP, or a stick-up kid like Biggie in Gimme the Loot, or a gangster like the narrator of Pop Smoke's Dior? Even if you have, considering the demographic breakdown of hip-hop listeners, it's safe to say that most consumers have not, but sing along all the same. Their indifference to talking about these activities is called cool pose. Defined, cool pose is the use of deliberate and conspicuous styles of demeanor, speech, gesture, walk, stance, and other physical gestures which convey fearlessness to others. Appearing emotionally flippant has become a staple of hip-hop culture for years. Someone who has gotten really great at cool pose over the years is 50 Cent. His reaction to controversy or beef is usually to poke fun and make fun of the other party, which not only works to get the audience on his side, but it also makes it seem like he doesn't actually care about anything, and that's exactly what cool pose is. Hip-hop has become such a commodity because of the fantasy that it provides for the listener, and cool pose makes this fantasy accessible. According to legendary music journalist Michael Eric Dyson, male rap artists idealize the hood as the foundation of African American identity and authenticity, and by being familiar with the hood and hood things, rappers are asserting their legitimate masculinity. The authenticity and legitimacy is what people outside of the hood see as a sort of fantasy. Inadvertently, artists focus on authenticity, which which put certain boundaries around the culture of hip-hop. But putting boundaries around the culture of hip-hop is exactly what propelled it to being the most listened to genre of music. The authenticity that fans love is exactly what brings advertisers in as well. Additionally, the ability of an artist to speak in their own social voice is what's attractive about hip-hop from a marketing standpoint. Rap has been used as a means of drawing in consumers not familiar with it, but fascinated with its elements. People like to consume fantasy because it's as close as many of us will get to the luxurious and eventful lifestyles that our favorite rappers flaunt, whether or not they can actually afford it. This is why we can watch music videos again and again. Unlike films where you have to get to know the world and its characters, you're already invested in the rapper, and the world they create in a video only pulls you closer to them. Hip-hop artists also use their focus on commodity to find new and inventive ways of marketing. For example, Mike Jones and Soulja Boy are credited with beginning mobile marketing because of their songs Back Then and Kiss Me Through the Phone. Rap music also thrives on self-promotion and confidence. The genre depends on capitalism in every way, and capitalism thrives on competition. This makes the collaboration between hip-hop and marketing a fitting one. Think of Curtis Blow's 7-Up diss, the Wendy's mixtape, We Beefin'. It was slated as a diss for McDonald's, but it was really just marketing. And then of course there's a Pusha T and Arby's versus McDonald's thing, which reminds me, if you specifically want to know more about how McDonald's tries to reach the Black community, check out this video of Roy Woods Jr. from Comedy Central. It's hilarious and pretty accurate. McDonald's has years worth of prejudiced ads, but they began their delve into using hip-hop for marketing in 1986 with a series of commercials, from the hot food rap commercial
McDLT, hot stuff when you get a taste for something good and hot.
to the nursery rhyme rap commercial to the Big Mac rap commercial. Sometime later, a few more popped up. There were also a few notable Black commercials from the early 2000s, the McNuggets Lovin' commercial, and of course the Snap Music commercial.
After the party, we're going to McDonald's.
In 2005, a firm called Maven Strategy partnered with McDonald's for rappers to mention them in their songs for $1 to $5 each time the song was played commercially. That seems like a lot of money considering the literal pennies that artists make from streaming now, but this was the same year of the MGM Studios v. Grokster decision, which concluded that file sharing companies could be held at fault for copyright infringement because of illegal music sharing. So think Napster and LimeWire. This was also years before several labels would take LimeWire to court, where LimeWire would end up agreeing to pay over $100 million in damages, so the music industry was in a bind, and at the time trying to grab money wherever they could. Along these same lines, Pusha T and Malice, aka The Clips, only received $500K each for writing their I'm Lovin' It jingle.
Steve Stout basically brought us the whole idea of doing the McDonald's jingle. When he brought it to us, he gave us the I'm loving it, tagline.
Yeah.
And we basically just wrote to that. They just took pieces out, whatever the case may be. And
I feel like McDonald's shouldn't have wanted to work with this guy.
But no. And
Steven Victor again.
And they got over. Pay a one-time payout.
Ooh.
What was it? Like a half. Me and my brother gave me and my brother a half. Half a million.
To bring things full circle, they did the same thing for Arby's and now retain 40% ownership of their jingle.
I own 40% of the Arby's commercial now.
We hate Arby's.
It doesn't matter.
Who goes to Arby's? Wait, hold on. We have the meats as you?
Yeah, we own that.
He also released a McDonald's diss on Arby's behalf. There's a trend of rappers getting deals with drink brands, from vitamin water to liquor brands like Jay-Z and Heineken, Dr. Dre and Coors Light, Nas and Hennessy, Post Malone and Bud Light. And we already talked about Armadale. In the early 2000s, Absolute created an entire Absolute world for Kanye, including a Be Kanye pill that would turn you into Kanye for about 4 hours. This trend was essentially spearheaded because of Diddy's pioneering of the Ghetto Fabulous trend in 1994. That same year, St. Ides, a malt liquor brand, would adopt an expansive and rigorous marketing plan that had hip-hop at the forefront. St. Ides was having trouble reaching an urban market with their liquor because of competitors like Old English and Colt 45. They gave creative control of this marketing push to DJ Pooh, who brought on Ice Cube and the Lynch Mob, Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Warren G, Nate Dogg, King T, EPMD, Biggie, Eric B and Rakim, Cypress Hill, Ghetto Boys, MC8, and Wu-Tang Clan. Not only were these ads shown on TV, but the campaign also integrated radio and print ads. Previously in 1991, St. Ides came under some fire because they used Bring the Noise by Public Enemy without their permission. In fact, that same year, the group released 1 million bottle bags, which Chuck D used to speak against malt liquor companies and the way that they promoted their products to children. The same year, the group sued for $5 million. For a deep dive on this, check out Cloud Cancun's video. Similarly, this marketing push was the beginning of Snoop Dogg becoming the liaison between hip-hop and marketing. Over the years, Snoop Dogg would have brand deals with several brands, including Tommy Hilfiger. Speaking of Tommy Hilfiger, let's finally talk about hip-hop and fashion marketing, starting with Run DMC and Adidas. Russell Simmons wanted Run DMC to relate to younger audiences by wearing streetwear. At the time, shell-toe Adidas were the shoe for hip-hop heads. They made the song My Adidas to align themselves with the brand, and as a response to Felon Sneakers by Gerald Diaz.
We're gonna tell you about a few felony cases that started with the brothers with the fat shoelaces.
In 1986, at their performance at Madison Square Garden, the first big hip-hop performance ever, they asked the sold-out stadium of over 20,000 people to hold up their shoes, and everyone had on shell-toe Adidas. They approached the shoe company for a deal after the fact. Run DMC made $1.5 million upfront for the Adidas deal, and Adidas paid Run $1 million a year for several years after. The group were the first non-athletes to get a clothing deal like this, and shell-toe Adidas were still one of the most popular shoes in 2009. This was the beginning of aligning rap with fashion and led to the creation of the FUBU and Fat Farm clothing brands in 1992. In 1993, Snoop Dogg was instrumental in changing the image of Tommy Hilfiger because he wore their clothing on Saturday Night Live. In 1998, Diddy created Sean John. In 1999, LRG and Rocawear were launched. We see the effects of these companies in brand deals today with Joey Badass's release with Pony, Pharrell's release with Balenciaga, and the deals that Childish Gambino, Kanye, and A$AP Rocky cut with Adidas. The power of hip-hop remains in its ability to reflect and influence mainstream media. Despite all of the hate that the genre has received and all of the trouble that it has caused, there's no getting rid of hip-hop. It is pop culture. The very building blocks of hip-hop are ripe for marketing. The very luxury brands and products that pop culture thrives on. It's a symbiotic relationship.